Welcome to the Dawgs Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Justin Charles and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Fantasy Football Podcast. Josh All, Justin Charles, coming to you guys with our first redraft mock draft of the 2024 season. We're getting ready for, it's July.
That's crazy.
It's July. First of all, happy 4th of July, everybody out there. I hope you guys all enjoy your weekend, have a great time with your family and friends, and enjoy the weather and your cookouts and everything, and do it up.
Yep.
Have a good time.
Absolutely.
Celebrate.
Love that. Love all that.
But mock draft. Make sure you guys are mock drafting so you're getting ready for your fantasy leagues. We're going to do a mock draft here on the show today. I mean, we did a rookie mock draft, just like a 2-rounder a couple weeks ago or whatever.
Pick for pick.
But this is, most people still, I would imagine, everybody's in redraft leagues. If you're playing fantasy football, you might do Dynasty. Mm-hmm. But if you do Dynasty, you definitely do like a redraft or two, I'm sure.
You got to have one.
Not everybody who does redraft does Dynasty, so.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the way it feels anyhow. So we're going to go through this today. We're just going to do a very simple standard type of league. It's going to be a half-point PPR, 12-man team, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex, and then 5 bench spots. We'll go through this. We'll see how quickly we go through. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of where we are slotted in at, Justin took the 12th pick. So he will be picking at the end. He'll have 2 picks in a row each time. I took a spot in the middle because we talked about this on a previous show. I hate the middle.
Yeah, I do too.
Hate it. So therefore, I'm going to mock from it because if I got stuck there, I want to make sure I'm working on plans and strategies and stuff. And that's what I like. I love it whenever leagues come out and say, okay, this is the draft order a couple weeks ahead of the draft, so you have time to dive into mock draft. You don't have to mess around with, well, if I'm early, if I'm middle, if I'm no, you know where you're at, and you just get that strategy ready to go. But we're going to dive into it. Before we do, make sure you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, just please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. We're getting some good interaction on YouTube with some comments and stuff. It's a lot of fun. If you guys have questions, if you've got fantasy leagues that you want input about, you've got a trade situation, or you know where you're drafting from, and hey, who should I be targeting at the 108, whatever, just let us know. We're happy to give you guys our 2 cents on everything. So, and then, of course, if you guys are listening to the podcast, 5-star reviews go a long way. So whatever platform you're on, please rate us. 5-star review helps us out a ton. You ready to mock draft?
I'm ready, dog.
All right, let's dive into this thing. All right, so here we are. We're on the board. Again, real quick, just going to go through it one last time. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex, 5 bench, half-point PPR. You ready to roll?
Yep.
All right.
Let's do it.
Here we go. We're going to kick this thing off, start the draft.
Okay.
So CeeDee Lamb actually goes 101, Tyreek Hill. Christian McCaffrey doesn't go till pick 3. So there we go. We talked last week, should CMC be the 101? And I said, if you're going wide receiver, think about CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill. And there they go, 1-2.
Right. Yep.
So then it's Justin Jefferson at 4, Jamar Chase at 5, which is pretty much the chalk way this was going to go. And of course, now I'm on the clock at 6. And I've got a decision to make. So if I want to go running back, I've got to be looking at Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall. If I want to go wide receiver, it's definitely Amon-Ra St. Brown here. So decision making in the very beginning. I'm going to build my roster here around a stud wide receiver. I'm taking Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we're going to see. We're going to see what ends up happening. Bijan goes next. Breece Hall, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and now Justin is on the clock with back-to-back picks.
Lovely. So give me Jonathan Taylor. And, well, I'll give myself Jonathan Taylor.
You have that technology at your fingertips.
And you know what? Give me Marvin Harrison Jr.
Marvin Harrison. Okay, so Justin goes Jonathan Taylor, Marvin Harrison Jr. He swings on the rookie right there at the beginning of the second round. Now, if you guys are listening to this, I meant to say this right before we started. If you want to watch the draft board and see everything unfold, head over to YouTube. We've got it recording here, I think. Yeah, it's all good to go. So you can go watch the video, follow along with us if you want to, and see how this thing is going to turn out.
Am I picking again?
What's that?
Looks like I'm up again.
You are not up again. That is me.
Okay, good. Good. I was going to say, I'm like, oh, man.
No, you're good. So yeah, Justin went Marvin Harrison to start the second round, then Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Adams, and Travis Etienne. Now, I am on the clock here.
Okay.
And again, tough decision-making for me. I got Kyren Williams on the board if I want to grab a running back. Devon Achane is also there. Not really too interested in swinging at him this soon, although if I wanted him, I'd have to get him because he won't be there by the time it comes back around. If I go receiver, it's the guys like Drake London, Brandon Ayuk. Scroll a little bit, Nico Collins, Mike Evans. And if I wanted to take the first quarterback off the board, I could go Josh Allen, but I'm not going to take a quarterback in the second round. I can't do that. Oh boy, what does Josh want to do? You know what? Screw it. I'm taking Drake London. I'm just going to double up on these receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Drake London to start the draft. Then it goes after my pick, Kyren Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Josh Allen, Devon Achane, Sammy Laporta. Then in the third round, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, Travis Kelce, Nico Collins. Now I'm back on the board. Kind of sucks a little bit because I was really hoping a guy like Mike Evans would come back to me. So here we are. Receivers again, Debo, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle. And running backs would be like Isaiah Pacheco, Rashad White. And then, of course, quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I started Amon-Ra, Drake London. Screw it. I'm going to follow this thing up. I'm going Jalen Waddle in the third round. I got three receivers to start off my draft.
I love that pick.
After that pick goes Stephon Diggs, Debo Samuel, Jalen Hurts, DJ Moore, and Lamar Jackson. Now Justin's up with 2 back-to-back picks.
Okay. Give me.
What are you thinking here? Like, what are you looking at?
So in my head, this is how I'm processing. I'm looking, I want to get an alpha. I'm still in the ranges, like as far as skill players, where I want ones. I want ball dominant guys, whether it's running back, wide receiver, tight end. And then also, since I'm at the turn, I'm peaking quarterback because some of the guys that I was going, honestly, my first pick would have been Jalen Hurts. He went like 3 picks ago. And then honestly, right after that, I probably would have said Lamar Jackson. Okay. Also off the board.
Yep.
So I'm feeling a little crazy. I'll do, this one might surprise you, Malik Neighbors.
It surprises me because now you've gotten 2 rookie receivers as your guys.
And I will take Patrick Mahomes also.
Oh, okay. So Justin broke that quarterback seal for us.
Correct.
He goes Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you feel about, because we got a little bit of time on the clock here before I got to make a pick. How do you feel about having 2 rookie wide receivers as your first 2 receivers?
Usually I would say no.
Okay.
So for me, I'm very big on guys that have, I'm not into what they could be when I'm usually drafting. I'm very big on what have they done for me and what have they been doing. Okay. Injury, stuff like that. If you're going to be able to get guys that have been hurt or had down years or stuff like that, get them at a discount. But for me, I usually don't do this. Now, the situation here is you have Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors pretty much going to be complete alphas, get a huge target share, I would guess, on both those teams. I would think even more for probably Malik Neighbors, So I'm taking the potential upside with both those guys.
And the upside is there. It's undeniable for sure. So, yes. And I mean, that's the thing with Neighbors. He's going to gobble all the targets because there's nobody else there. Mm-hmm. So yep. I don't hate it. It'll be interesting to see how your team plays out with this strategy.
Correct.
It'll be interesting to see how mine plays out because I've got 3 wide receivers after Justin took Mahomes, Devontae Smith, then Isaiah Pacheco, Rashad White. I was hoping one of those 2 guys came back to me. They did not. Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf. Now I'm on the board and I'm looking at, do I just want to swing at tight end, grab like Trey McBride or Mark Andrews?
Yep.
If I want to get my first running back, it's going to be James Cook or Joe Mixon. Kenneth Walker's on the board. I'm not going CJ Stroud this early. He just doesn't have that rushing upside that I would want to swing for in the 4th round. It's probably going to seem crazy, and it's going to dictate the rest of my draft heavily, but I'm going to go Cooper Kupp, take a fourth wide receiver. But I mean, now my team is built on receiving and a lot of targets, a lot of catches, half point per reception. I'm getting a ton with Amon-Ra, hopefully a lot with Drake London. I know Jalen Waddle's getting his. And if Cooper Kupp stays healthy this year, he's still going to be a very productive. And to get him in the fourth round,
that's where I was going to hit.
I'm feeling nice about it. So after I took Cooper Kupp, then Trey McBride came off the board, CJ Stroud, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon. So a little running back run there. That ends the fourth round. Fifth round kicks off with Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, Mark Andrews, T. Higgins, George Pickens. Now I'm back on the clock. Let's see, what wide receiver do I want to take this time? No, I'm just kidding. I should probably get, I am looking at Anthony Richardson hard here.
That's fair.
Middle of the fifth round. I like his rushing upside and everything that he has. Oh boy. I don't know how I feel about Alvin Kamara this year.
I'm nervous.
This is definitely, for me, what I'm doing so far, this is going to be a 0 RB build.
Okay.
If you understand the terminology, because I've got obviously 0 running backs.
Yep.
There's some guys I like a little bit later, but I'm going to take Dalton Kincaid. I'm going to take my tight end. I think he's got a chance to be the number one for Josh Allen and just, again, PPR, rack up catches, touchdowns, all that kind of stuff. So I went Dalton Kincaid, and then George Kittle went right after me, followed by Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Alvin Kamara, and Aaron Jones. And now Justin's up with 2 picks.
All right. Let me do, I want to fill tight end. But
who are you looking at tight end?
Kyle Pitts is there.
And then you got to scroll a little bit to find
Pitts,
Evan
Ingram, Brock Bowers. I'm just going to wait for a little bit though. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Kincaid for me kind of ends a tier of this range of tight ends that I'm interested in. The Laporta, Kelsey, McBride, Andrews, Kincaid. I'm not as interested in George Kittle just because he does so much blocking for them and they spread the ball around so much to their playmakers. You just never really know when he's going to be the guy for you. He can win you a week, but he can also go out there and get you 3 points.
Sure. So I went James Conner.
Dirty dog.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I followed it up with Christian Kirk.
Okay. I don't hate that. Christian Kirk. I think that's kind of a nice wide receiver I guess a good veteran wide receiver to have on top of Neighbors and Harrison.
That's fair. Going into last year, I would have said, I'm not that high on Christian Kirk, but it was pretty obvious last year that there was some serious chemistry between him and Trevor Lawrence, and that Kirk was in fact the number one, not Calvin Ridley. So I like that pick, especially the value getting him, beginning of the 6th round. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. I don't hate it. So after you take Connor and Kirk, then it goes Kyle Pitts, Joe Burrow, Jordan Addison, Anthony Richardson. Oh man, he almost made it back to me, just 2 picks away. Then Jaden Reed, and now I'm up. So if I kind of peek at my quarterbacks here, this is kind of the last couple quarterbacks I'm interested in taking until I'm just saying, okay, I'm waiting till late. I got Kyler Murray on the board, and I've got Dak Prescott, and I'm hoping. Do I want to hope one of those two come back to me, or do I just take one now? That's kind of where I'm at, because I could, at wide receiver, Rome Odunze, probably not here. Terry McLaurin, interesting because he is the one in that offense. It could be better than we expect. I'm not big on DeAndre Swift. David Montgomery, again, doing this 0 RB. I'm kind of committed now to building up the rest of my team and seeing what happens later.
Yes.
I could go Ramondre. I don't think that would be terrible. If I went another wide receiver, it'd be Xavier Worthy. Man. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take Kyler Murray. I think that Kyler Murray has a good... Oh, Dak Prescott went right after that.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were going to do there.
Probably a good thing I went ahead and did it. So I took Kyler Murray. I think he's going to have a bounce-back year. When healthy, he's always a top fantasy-producing quarterback with his rushing. He's a good thrower. Mm-hmm. He's got great weapons now. It's an offense on the up and up. I mean, it's one of the offenses I've talked a lot about. I want pieces of.
I'm completely with you on that.
So Dak Prescott after I take Kyler Murray, and then David Montgomery, Xavier Worthy, Najee Harris, Terry McLaurin, round that out. And then we get into the 7th round. Starts off with Jordan Love, DeAndre Swift, Rome Odunze, Ramondre Stevenson, and Zamir White was going to be my guy. Yep. And I got snaked by Team 5, of course. All right. Well, I've got 4 wide receivers. I've got my tight end. I've got my quarterback. Now, on the board, I could go, man, if I went with another receiver, I'm definitely not in on Hollywood Brown right now. I obviously don't need either of these tight ends. Maybe Chris Godwin, maybe Calvin Ridley. Man, if I go running back, I'm looking, Raheem Mostert's on the board, Tony Pollard, Jonathan Brooks. These are not the guys I was hoping to build my zero RB strategy around.
Don't panic. You're good.
No, I know I'm good. I'm going to hang in there. So I guess we'll just go ahead and stick with it. We'll keep going with these receivers, and I'm going to swing one more time this year on Calvin Ridley. We'll see what happens, because I think that he has a chance to be, again, the one in his offense. You know, he got paid some good money to be there, and that could be an offense that surprises people a little more than we're expecting. So I go Calvin Ridley, get my 5th wide receiver. This episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Let's all take a minute to wish happy birthday to the United States of America, and there's no better way to celebrate America's birthday than with the best meats available for your backyard cookouts this 4th of July season. Right now, you can save 50% off site-wide during the Omaha Steaks 4th of July sale. So break out the grills and get ready for the 4th of July celebrations with Omaha Steaks. Get the burgers, the chicken, the jumbo franks, the brats, and of course, get the steaks. Those things are incredible. They've got appetizers, meatballs, wings. They've got desserts. They've even got wine. They've got everything you guys need to celebrate America's birthday with your friends and your family. Go to omahasteaks.com/dogs and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out, and you'll get an extra $30 off your order. So set off the fireworks in everybody's mouth with Omaha Steaks this 4th of July. Head to omahasteaks.com/dogs. Get 50% off site-wide during the 4th of July sale, and make sure you guys punch in that promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out to get an extra $30 off your order. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
I am back on.
Well, real quick, before you got up, then it went, Caleb Williams went already.
Yeah.
And then Hollywood Brown, Chris Godwin, Evan Ingram, and Jonathan Brooks. And now, you're up.
So I was targeting Evan Ingram there.
I figured,
Needed to come back for the tight end.
Close.
But I'm looking, and I'm not that upset with what's going on. Give me Jake Ferguson here.
Okay.
And then let me come back with it, and I'll take a dart. And I don't even think it's a dart, but give me Ladd McConkey.
I don't hate that.
Another rookie.
Now that's where it starts to get a little like, well, you better hope these guys hit. Yeah. But I like all 3 of those guys have an opportunity to be the number 1 wide receiver on their team.
Yes. Yep.
As rookies. Now, if they take a little while to, maybe the first 4 or 5 weeks to really get on to
I might be eliminated. I might be out of the playoffs.
You might be scrambling a little bit this first couple of weeks in the waiver wire, but
yes.
Hey, who knows? Maybe I think Marvin Harrison's going to come out at least on fire right away. So.
I would think so.
All right, I'm up, and let's see. We've got, 5 picks left. I'm in desperate need of some running backs. Tony Pollard. Well, let's see. After you take McConkey goes Rashee Rice. Raheem Mostert's gone. Darn it.
Yep.
Brock Bowers goes. Then Tony Pollard. Darn it. Javonte Williams. I would have grabbed him.
Yes.
So, yeehaw. Yippee-ki-yay. This is not maybe zero RB is not the best to do in the middle rounds or in the middle slot. Because
we're learning some things here.
I'm getting screwed big time. So I do want a running back, and I'm going to take Zach Moss. I think Zach Moss has a chance to be, he could be the main ball carrier for the Cincinnati Bengals, a good offense. It's worth a shot here, knowing that I've got solid wide receivers. I've got one of my top anyway, tight ends, and a quarterback who could easily push to be top 6. So feeling okay about that. After I go Zach Moss, DeAndre Hopkins, Deontay Johnson, Nick Chubb. I feel like this is a little early for Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Knowing he's not going to be ready for a while, or at least assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
David Njoku, and then Brian Thomas Jr., and then in the 9th round starts off with Christian Watson, Brock Purdy, Keon Coleman, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Austin Eckler. And Josh is back up with another dilemma. So, you know what? I'm just gonna take the top running back on the board here. I'm gonna take Jaylen Warren. I think that he's got an opportunity to. I mean, he's very productive on a per touch basis.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a run heavy offense there in Pittsburgh. I think Jaylen Warren, if you're swinging at this zero RB strategy, he's a good one to grab. Trey Benson, Devin Singletary. I was between Warren and Singletary, honestly. And then Jared Goff, Tua, Tagovailoa, TJ Hawkinson, and now Justin's up.
Give me Brian Robinson Jr. I'll give
Damn it.
Brian
that was going to be
Jr.
my next pick for sure. Okay. Well, I guess, man, this sucks. This is bad.
And then I'm going to take a flyer, and I'm going to take Jaden Daniels here.
Okay.
Just
insurance
policy.
Okay. Insurance policy for that Patrick Mahomes guy who you just never know about.
I mean, last year I have Patrick Mahomes. Last year, I'm not gonna lie, I looked and started other quarterbacks.
I know. It was definitely a down year for him. Okay, I don't hate the Jaden Daniels. You're definitely on the rookie train.
Yes.
So after you take Brian Robinson, which, damn you, again, then Jaden Daniels, and then it goes Tajay Spears, Dallas Goedert, Dalton Schultz, and then two guys that I was debating between. Now I don't have to worry because they're not on the board anymore, and that's Gus Edwards and Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
So puts me back up, okay, so where I'm sitting here, I've got Zach Moss, Jaylen Warren. I don't know if this is going to be, yeah, I'm definitely tilting here a little bit. Let's go with, I'm just going to go ahead and get a guy that I know is going to get at least a decent workload for the first part of the year, and I'll figure the rest out later. I'm going to grab Jerome Ford.
Okay.
We talked about Nick Chubb went 2 rounds earlier, and he's not going to play for a little bit this year. So
I wouldn't think so, yeah.
Jerome Ford's going to be in there. He was the lead guy last year for the Browns. Whether he splits with Foreman or whatever, I mean, Jerome Ford on passing downs would be just fine for my lineup. So after I take Jerome Ford, goes Justin Herbert, Khalil Shakir, Adonai Mitchell, and Jamison Williams, Romeo Doubs. Turn around to the 11th round, Ezekiel Elliott, Blake Corum, Tyler Lockett, Chase Brown, who I was considering back there since I already took Zach Moss, then Jerry Jeudy, and now I'm back up. So I guess I need to kind of scout my team here. We got 2 picks left. My running backs, Zach Moss, Jaylen Warren, Jerome Ford. I've got Amon-Ra, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp, and Calvin Ridley as my wide receivers. Let's see who's on the board here. Okay. There's a guy that I was hoping would come back. And if he did, I was going to take him. So I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet.
Okay.
Continue to round out my bench as far as guys I can rotate through for these running backs. I think, there's an opportunity for him to have a bigger workload this year. New regime, new coaching staff, and everything up there in Seattle. So we'll see how they want to, do things moving forward. So I go Charbonnet, Trevor Lawrence, Cole Kmet, Curtis Samuel, Jacoby Myers, Kirk Cousins, and now Justin's up with his, final 2 picks.
Okay, so give me Freiermuth here, just for some depth.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take another, depth piece. I was thinking receiver, but the more I look, I think I'm going to go running back. And then I'm going to take a flyer on a guy last pick here. Give me J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? You're not wrong. All right, so J.K. Dobbins, hopefully recovering from his injuries. So you go Freiermuth, Dobbins to round it out. Followed with Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Rashid Shaheed, Josh Downs, Xavier Legette. I'm up, last pick. Again, dart throws because kind of late like this. I'm just trying to find somebody that I think, okay, with maybe in the first week or two, I'll get a good idea of whether or not I got something or not. And if I don't, cut them, get rid of them.
Yep.
Pick up the next hot thing off the waiver wire. It happens every year. And again, I'm looking at, there's really no wide receivers that I'm wanting to take a huge, if I did, it would be like Jahan Dotson maybe just to see. Maybe he's got something. I could go Ricky Pearsall. Never know. I don't know what's happening with Brandon Ayuk.
Right.
But outside of that, not real interested in a lot of these wide receivers on the board. Running backs, my decision right now is between Kendre Miller for the Saints, because who knows what Alvin Kamara,
Yep. No, I get it.
Is the drop off there? Do they kind of shift to a more split backfield? Does Kendre get some more work? And I'm looking at Rico Dowdle.
Okay.
Is he the starter in Dallas? Is it Zeke?
Right.
I don't know. And how split will that workload be? I think I will go ahead and take the swing on Kendre Miller, a young guy, dealt with injuries last year. Not really sure exactly what he even is. So there we go. That's how I round that thing out. So it's kind of funny. I started with 4 straight receivers and I ended with 5 straight running backs.
You like any of those running backs?
Do I like them?
Yes.
I like the potential that they all possess.
Okay.
So do you want to go ahead and break down your team?
Yeah, I guess so for quarterback, got Patrick Mahomes, running back, Jonathan Taylor, running back, James Conner, wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, tight end, Jake Ferguson. At the flex, they got me with Christian Kirk. Then we got Ladd McConkey, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaden Daniels, Pat Freiermuth, and J.K. Dobbins.
All right, and for me, I got running backs. Actually, I'm not going to start there because this was a 0 RB build. So let's start with the priority position. Wide receiver, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp, and Calvin Ridley. I feel pretty good about that, that grouping right there. Running backs, not so much. Zach Moss, Jalen Warren, Jerome Ford, Zach Charbonnet, Kendre Miller. I know I'm at least going to get the first quarter of the season. I can plug Jerome Ford in there. I got a starter. No big deal. I know that Zach Moss I can plug in there. Probably Jalen Warren too. Like I can honestly rotate through these guys, see who's getting the hot hand and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
That's kind of where the 0 RB build is going to lead you, especially when you get snaked by some of these other guys being in the middle. I mean, there were players that I wanted and I didn't get them. Yep. Quarterback, Kyler Murray, tight end, Dalton Kincaid. That's how it went. How do you feel about your team? Cool.
I took some risks. Definitely. Like I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, a lot of rookies. But no, I like it. Is it championship worthy? I don't know. I mean, some drafts don't always, for me personally, I draft pretty decent, but I do a lot of my damage on the waiver wire. You know what I mean? So for me, this is a good foundation. We're on our way.
I'm glad you said foundation, because that is one thing to remember when you go into your drafts, especially now, if you've been playing fantasy football for a while, you understand this. If you're newer or this is your first time, the biggest mistake that people will make is they think that who they take in the draft, that's it for the season. Yep. That's a best ball league. These type of the standard redraft fantasy leagues, you're drafted, like Justin says, just your foundation. It is step one. And immediately you got to be playing the waiver wire. Yeah. Like as soon as the draft is over, I don't close the app. I don't do anything. I immediately go to my waiver wire. Yeah. I'm like, who did I miss?
Yeah.
Who is still out there that I should have taken, but I took this Yahoo instead? And then I'll make moves right away after the draft sometimes.
Me too.
And you have to be playing the waivers every day, because that's just, especially if you do something like I did where, I don't have the, strong running backs or locked in starters or anything like that for fantasy football. I need to be paying attention to the waivers. Who gets injured? Who's getting more work than we thought they would? Who's a surprise starter for this team or whatever? Kyron Williams last year.
Yep.
Was a waiver wire pickup. League winner.
Yep.
What was the RB like 3 or 4 or something on this?
5 games.
Yeah. So
still was up there.
That kind of stuff. I mean, I won a league last year kind of doing a 0 RB build, and I ended up with Javonte, who wasn't really healthy or effective for the first part of the year. And I forget who my other starter was that I got. And it ended up being a nobody, like nothing for fantasy. And then I got Jerome Ford immediately. I spent up big to get him after Nick Chubb got hurt, because I was like, I've got a locked in starter for the rest of the season. I ended up winning a championship. That was great. So you just have to play the waivers. You just have to pay attention to what's going on.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we'll keep you guys informed on what's going on, because we're going to stay with you throughout the season. We're going to do more mock drafts. We were talking, we'll do like a super flex draft next, a redraft super flex. And
can't wait.
I don't know if it's too late in the summer now to do a dynasty startup draft. That might be kind of fun to do sometime.
We can do that.
Kind of fly through one of those and see how it goes and all that kind of stuff. So If you guys want any specific type of mock drafts, like a tight end premium or a 3 wide receiver, or something a little more
spicy,
a little more spicy, yeah, just let us know. Just drop it in the comments. We'll be happy to oblige. Yep. I think we'll probably do quite a few of these mock drafts.
For sure. Yeah.
As we get closer to August, get you guys ready for the actual draft season. So make sure you guys are mocking and drop in some of the rosters that you guys are able to assemble in the chat, and we'll look at them. Tell you guys what we think.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, sir.
What's going on with CeeDee Lamb?
What's going on with him, dog? I don't know what's going on with him.
I don't know. They're reporting out of Dallas, right? I forget.
Contract stuff?
Dallas Star or whatever said that they don't expect him to show up for training camp until he gets the contract, all that kind of stuff. So CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Cowboys, they're kind of in a standoff there.
They're probably going to have to pay
They've
him.
got guys to pay. That's the thing. Yeah. They've got Dak. They've got CeeDee. They've got Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what do they do? What is Dallas? You have to pay CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't not have him.
I agree. And probably should, maybe I'm out on a limb here, but probably should pay Dak Prescott.
You probably
I would. Yes, especially if you have no running backs on your team. I would probably pay the guy that's going to throw the ball 50 plus times a game.
Yes. That's why Dak, even though he does not have the rushing upside, he's definitely in consideration for me as more of a, not necessarily like an early QB, but a mid-round quarterback, like where I was Kyler or Dak. I was really between those two because he'll be 300 yards a game, probably 3 touchdowns. I mean, he's gonna have a nice season.
He balled out last year too.
If CeeDee Lamb is there.
Yes.
Yeah. If CeeDee Lamb is not there, different story.
Go get Brandon Cooks. Go get him right now.
And get Jake Ferguson, who you grabbed, right?
There you go. Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, that's just something to keep an eye on as training camp. I'm sure it gets done. Oh. I'm sure they get the situation resolved. They know with their defense and everything, they can't afford not to have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, they got to pay him.
What did he say? He was looking for, I think, at minimum $32 million a year average because Jefferson got 35.
Yeah.
Right? So I think CeeDee's kind of saying, look, you don't have to make me the highest paid.
But I want to be up.
You better make me pretty freaking close.
Yeah. I'd make him probably the second best wide receiver as far as like pay. I would be paying that.
If you said, hey, it's got to be at least 32, I would say, let's start at 32.
Yeah.
That's
how's 32 sound?
Yeah, how's 32?
Sound good? All right, let's get out of here. Let's go get a beer, Come on.
So just monitor that for you guys out there for CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's either getting extended with Dallas or he's getting traded.
Shakes.
Those are the options. So we'll see what happens. If he gets traded, hypothetically.
Okay.
It depends on where he goes, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
And what quarterback he gets matched up with. But what he's been able to do with Dak Prescott, and I think Dak's a very underrated quarterback.
Agreed.
So does that give his like dynasty value a hit?
No, not at all.
No,
not for like, if it's a startup.
Carolina.
Better hope Bryce Young gets better.
What if it's not Oakland, Las Vegas?
Vegas. I mean, look what's happened to Devontae Adams.
Okay, fair enough.
But here's the thing: are you selling Devontae Adams? Like, I'm probably holding on to Devontae Adams until he's done.
If I'm a competitor, if I'm not competing this year,
probably selling. Okay, that's fair.
I'm getting whatever I can get for Devontae Adams.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yep.
What about CeeDee Lamb though? I'm like, I feel like 3 firsts. We're not even talking yet. You know what I mean? Like he's that good. I mean,
he's definitely he's pushed himself up into that upper echelon.
Right. If it's just a startup and like no importance on quarterback like that, it's a top 3 pick, easy.
Oh,
maybe
easy.
top. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, you can make an argument for him at 1.
Yeah.
101 if it's just a 1 quarterback league,
especially in dynasty. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm with you, man.
And we saw him go 101 in this draft here today on our mock draft. So just something to keep an eye on, everybody. But that's it for today's episode. We're going to wrap this thing up. Again, let us know what you guys thought about the mock draft. If you guys have other ideas for mock drafts that we can do over the summer here, we'll do them, put them out there for you guys so you can see what happens and how they unfold. Make sure you guys are doing mock drafts so you're not surprised by anything that happens when the real stuff comes around.
Yep.
Because it's going to be here quick.
Very soon. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is awesome. Football season is the best time of year. So make sure, again, like the video, subscribe on YouTube. Tap the notification bell. We're putting out shorts and little segments and things. So just, you guys don't want to miss any of the content that's coming out. Follow us on the socials at the Dawgs Fantasy, and make sure you give us a 5-star review on your podcast listening platforms. We really appreciate it. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week with another episode. And until we see you guys in the next one, happy 4th of July, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Fantasy Football Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow the podcast on social media at the Dawgs Fantasy.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. We talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. Dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.